Hi and welcome to how to create ambient music in Logic Pro X. The stock sounds of Logic Pro X is definitely suitable to create these really soft sounds suitable for ambient music. So in today's video you'll learn exactly how to replicate and create this kind of soft sound like you can hear in this introduction. Okay, so let's first focus on the first sound, this Ambient Pad. So this is created with the EFM1 synth of Logic Pro, and it's one of those default patches called Calming, with a little bit of twist. I have the mod wheel of my MIDI controller attached to the frequency modulation, the FM knob in the middle of this plugin. To attach a MIDI controller knob to one of the parameters in Logic Pro, you move the parameter and you press Command and L. And you will have this Learn Controller Assignments. Then the next step is to move the knob, or the mod wheel in this case, on the MIDI controller. And when you're done, you need to deactivate the Learn mode. And just reassign that and close the Learn Assignments screen. So now we have the FM amount attached to the mod wheel. Now the next step is to add some effects, so we add the chroma verb, and we go into synth reverbs and look for the Greek wash, and set the decay to 8.7 and the dry wetness like so, and you get this really sweet wash. And let's just take a quick look at the chords. Now the next step on the pad is just to add an EQ just to get rid of the low end here, because if we listen to this sound without the equalizer, you can see there's a lot of rumble in the really lower sub-bass region. And you want to get rid of that to get the most amount of loudness out of the mix later in the gain staging. Right, so a quick break here. If you like my content on YouTube on Logic Pro X and want to learn more about this wonderful DAW, you can sign up to my Logic Pro for Beginners course at store.monitormedia.com, and you will learn everything you need to know to create great music with the Logic Pro X package. Also, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. Let's continue. Next up we have the Ambient ARP, and that's created with the retro synth. So let's deactivate all the effects and also the Arpeggio. And that's just basically the default sound of the retro synth. It's just you lower the envelope a little bit here and lower the filter a bit. So you get the softer, like a cut-on-like sound. Then you activate the arpeggiator. And we set it to 8 notes and activate the grid part. And set it to the groove pulse 1. Then we can just get rid of some of the notes. Bump the variation to 3 and set the octave range to 2. And also make the note order random. So if we hold down a chord like this, it's going to play random notes on each of these steps from the keys that I press on the keypad. And I'm just playing like an A minor chord. Next up on the sound we have the chroma verb, just to give it a little bit of room. Short room sound. Then we have an equalizer to focus the sound and make it narrow in the frequency range. So without, just to focus a little bit more. Then we compress the sound with these settings. Just to make sure that none of the notes poke out too much from the mix. And we also add a little bit of soft distortion with the compressor. It's just some subtle distortion. Then we send this to a bus number 1, which has a clip distortion, which will heavily distort the sound. But we have a delay on that track too, which is the quarter notes basic pan. And we set a cutoff like so to cut off the high end and the low end to make also a very narrow sound. And then we pan all of the delay taps. So they move a little bit in the stereo field. And we also make sure that the level of the delay taps decrease successively. And you can hold down the command key and just drag in the interface like so. So you get this pen, so you can drag the volumes so they get lower and lower. Then after the delay we add a chroma reverb. Again the room reverb with 6 seconds decay and cut the low end. And the dry to 100% and the wet to 41%. So that gives the delay taps some reverb and smooths them a bit. And then finally an equalizer to narrow the sound again. And that gives us a sweet like background arpeggio. When you're later mixing your ambient track, you can experiment with fading the volumes in and out of the different tracks to give your track a little bit of momentum and variation. The next sound is the wash piano. It's also one of the stock sounds of Logic Pro called the mellow vibe piano. And we just add a little bit of bloom reverb with a chroma reverb and set it to 7 seconds and yeah, the dry wetness like so. And an equalizer at the end to cut the lows and cut the highs, again to focus the sound and make it more like a mid-range in the 800 or 1 kHz area. So without the bloom reverb. So it has a delay set like so. And we have a stereo delay. So there's a lot of delays on this with 8 triplets and quarter notes. And then when you add that bloom reverb, you get this really lush. Like a background wash behind the track. And I'm just sparkling small melodies on top of the chords here. And playing basically chord notes. The final sound is the gritty drone bed, which sounds like this. Or if we play higher up the range. So this is a drone that we play in the A key, since this piece is in A minor. So it's just an A note across the whole piece, but we modulate or automate the volume for the sound, so it goes so it fades in and out of the mix. So let's remove all the effects and listen to the dry sound. This is a patch from the Alchemy synth called Air Choir Sweep. So you have all these presets in your Logic Pro package too. And default without any effects, this sounds a little bit harsh like this. But it's important that it has all this top-end sizzle, because we're going to filter out a little bit of the lows and the highs again to get this sizzle sound, or the mid-range sizzle of it at least. So we first have an equalizer with like a radio shape on the equalizer to cut the lows and the highs. So without and with. So now we've found like the sweet spot of this sound in the mid-range. Then you add clip distortion to get that grittiness in the sound. And then finally an equalizer afterwards, and again cut the lows and a little bit of the highs. Just some subtle changes. And all these sounds together. Okay, so that's a quick tutorial on how to create the ambient sounds with the stock plugins and instruments of Logic Pro. If you have any questions of any sorts, please leave them in the comments. Right, so thanks for watching today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!